They told us the American dream was simple: work hard, stay honest, and you'll make it. But what if that dream was never real? What if it was bought, shaped, and sold by one man? A man who built his empire on silence, secrecy, and control. A man who became so rich, he could bend the country around him. This isn't just a story about wealth. It's a story about power. The story of the man who didn't just live the American dream. He owned it. This is John D. Rockefeller, the man who bought the American dream. The American dream has always sounded beautiful. Work hard, rise up, succeed. But in the late 1800s, that dream wasn't about hard work. It was about who controlled the game. America was booming. Steel, railroads, and oil were shaping the future. And in Cleveland, a quiet young accountant named John D. Rockefeller was watching the chaos closely. He was obsessed with order, numbers, systems, control. When other businessmen saw oil, Rockefeller saw something different, a way to control an entire industry. He started small, buying and refining oil. He watched the waste, the disorganization, the competition, and he decided to end it. He once said, "Competition is a sin." And he meant it. In 1870, Rockefeller founded Standard Oil. At first, it looked like just another oil company. But what no one realized was that it would become the most powerful corporation in America. Rockefeller made secret deals with railroads. He got discounts, kickbacks, and inside information. That meant his oil shipped cheaper. His competitors couldn't keep up. When they went bankrupt, he bought them, quietly, ruthlessly. He used fake companies to hide ownership, shell corporations to dodge taxes, and spies to infiltrate rival firms. By 1880, Rockefeller controlled over 90% of all oil in the United States. He didn't just win. He eliminated everyone else. And that's when people started to realize this wasn't business anymore. It was a monopoly. But how do you keep that kind of power without being stopped? You do what Rockefeller did best. You stay invisible. He rarely gave interviews. He avoided photographs. He let his company, not his name, do the talking. But behind that quiet image was a man pulling every string in the country. By the 1890s, Standard Oil wasn't just controlling oil, it was controlling America itself. Factories needed oil. Homes needed oil. Railroads, ships, the military, all needed oil. And Rockefeller owned it all. Politicians, he bought them. Newspapers, he funded them. Even churches praised him as a model Christian businessman. But there were cracks forming in the empire. One woman, Ida Tarbell, decided to take him on. Her father's business had been destroyed by Standard Oil. 4 years, she gathered documents, letters, contracts. And in 1904, she published *The History of the Standard Oil Company Star. It was the first great journalistic expose in American history. She exposed Rockefeller's secret deals, his threats, his manipulations, and how he'd crushed hundreds of small businesses. The public was horrified. For the first time, America saw the man behind the empire, and they didn't like what they saw. Rockefeller became the villain of capitalism. Cartoons showed him as an octopus, his tentacles wrapped around Congress, the press, and the courts. For most men, that kind of public hatred would be the end. But not for Rockefeller. He didn't panic. He adapted. After decades of domination, Rockefeller's empire was finally attacked. In 1911, the Supreme Court ruled that Standard Oil was a monopoly and ordered it to be broken up. It should have been the end. Instead, it made him richer. When Standard Oil split into smaller companies, Exxon, Chevron, Mobil, Rockefeller owned shares in all of them. Overnight, his fortune doubled. But Rockefeller knew something else had to change. His reputation. He began giving away money, not a little, but hundreds of millions. He funded universities, medical research, and global health programs. He created the Rockefeller Foundation, which still exists today. And slowly, the villain became the philanthropist. The same newspapers that once called him evil now called him a hero. But was it generosity or genius-level manipulation? Because through his donations, Rockefeller didn't just fix his image, he began shaping the future. He funded education programs that influenced school systems. He financed medical research that shaped healthcare policies. He used charity as another form of control. John D. Rockefeller lived to be 97 years old. By the time he died, his name had become a symbol of wealth, power, and success. But behind that polished image lies a question. Did he create the American dream? Or did he corrupt it? Because look around, the playbook he wrote still runs the world. Monopolies didn't die. They just changed names. Amazon, Google, Facebook, Apple, each using Rockefeller's blueprint: dominate the market, eliminate competition, and rebrand power as progress. Even the idea of the philanthropic billionaire comes from Rockefeller's transformation. He was the first to show the world that with enough money, you can rewrite your own legacy. Maybe that's the real American dream now, not working hard, but owning the system. John D. Rockefeller once said, "I always tried to turn every disaster into an opportunity." Maybe the biggest opportunity he ever found was convincing the world that he was the good guy. Because the truth is, he didn't just buy oil. He bought power. He bought influence. He bought the dream itself. And we are still living in it. This isn't just a tale about money. It's a gripping story about power. It's the saga of a man who didn't just chase the American dream. He owned it like a boss. Meet John D. Rockefeller, the guy who didn't just buy into the American dream. He bought it outright. Isn't that wild? Want to see how billionaires still use his playbook? Hit subscribe. If you want to understand how today's tech billionaires are using his exact playbook to shape our lives, make sure you hit subscribe. Because in our next story, we'll uncover how Rockefeller's empire didn't die, it just went digital. Thanks for watching.